All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Oscar Galindo. I'm back with another episode of the official visit. We're here, ready to cover quarterfinals of the playoffs. Things are starting to get, heated up there with some great matchups this Friday night. So again, kind of just like last time, just gonna go through the games, kind of talk about them a little bit. Won't get too in depth with them, just because there's a lot of games still out there, and trying to keep it short and sweet for you guys. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the matchups, a little bit about the players in those matchups, and of course, I'll give you my predictions for each game. So, before we get started on that, as always, definitely go make sure to check out Rexius Nutrition in Ralston. Mention the official visit, and you'll be able to get a 10% discount on your purchase. So, hit them up on the corner of 84th and Q. Get your protein, your pre-workouts, your creatine, branched chain amino acids, all that kind of stuff. Um, so give them a check. And follow them on Instagram. Follow them on social media. That's Rexius Nutrition in Ralston. Um, all right, so we're gonna kick it right off with Class A here. Got one, two, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds all made it. 5, 6, and 10 and 9 seed. So there are a couple upsets there from last week. First matchup here I have is Omaha West Side. I have them beating Papio La Vista. Papio La Vista took out an Omaha Central team that had a lot of momentum last week. Was able to beat them in a very close game. Saw quite a few players step up in that game. So you know, like what I saw from them last week. But Westside, they just continue just running over teams and just doing what they do. They haven't missed a beat from last year, and um, yeah, I think it's going to be a Westside win on Friday. All right, second game up on the board is a rematch, Week 4 rematch between number 2 Millard South and number 10 Millard North. Crosstown rivalry there. Obviously you'd never want to overlook anything in a rivalry game like this, but I do believe Millard South will come out on top. Looks like they beat them last time, 63-21, so pretty decisive win that time around. And I do believe Millard North, they've kind of gelled a lot more and turned out a little bit more consistent games since then. Of course, they have a ton of talent on that team. Caden Ramos, Pierce Mooberry, Arif Evans, Desmond Danens, Henry Reberg, all those guys, get after it, make plays and stuff like that. But yeah, on the flip side, Millard South, they're just as loaded, if not more, with all those weapons for Jet to throw to, and then the running game started to play a little bit more consistently. So that team's firing on all cylinders, and they have been since that Week 1 loss against Basha in Arizona. So got Millard South taking the win there. Number three, our third matchup here for this weekend is number 3 Kearney 9-1 versus number 6 Bellevue West. Bellevue West kind of had a little squeaked one out against Lincoln North Star last week. Kearney had that win over Millard West. I do believe Kearney will take this one. They just have all that talent that I've mentioned that is very under the radar still. Some of those guys on there. As a matter of fact, Turner Bertrand, the offensive tackle, just committed to Washington State, just to kind of show that's 2 Division 1 players on that team, or FBS players, with Sawyer Schilke on defense committed to Kansas State. So, and then of course you have Reese Bertrand, Turner Bertrand, Zach Wolf. We just did a write up on Josh Dolance. Just some dogs on that team that uh, you know you just love to get after it. So they've been very successful this year. Bellevue West, definitely don't want to sleep on them. They're one of those teams that they can go out and score points. With Will Anderson, they got Jermaine Green on that team. Some really great talent, so definitely don't want to overlook them. But Kearney has been a little bit of a spoiler for Thunderbirds in recent memory, with having I remember just a few years ago Kearney went to Bellevue West and knocked them off when they were having this tremendous season. Um, and yeah, so I think trip out to Kearney, and just Kearney being they look primed to make a deep run here in these playoffs. So for that reason, I'm going with Carney. All right. Last Class A matchup I got here is number 4 Elkhorn South versus number 5 Omaha North. This is one that I've been battling back and forth about who I think will win this game. Both teams have been playing, very good ball on both sides of offense and defense. Elkhorn South, they have that tremendous running game with Gavin Shanahan. Looks like they got Jaden Sutko back, making plays for them, back on the field making plays for them. So, that's a very tough 1-2 punch in and of itself. And then you got, players like Landon Tate, Madden Riggs, who could make plays for them from, or make all the throws at the quarterback position. So, um, yeah, and then they're very tough in the trenches, both offensive and defensive line. So, Elkhorn South, just a tough team. This is a team that went to the state championship last year, um, and yeah, I think this is a very tough one to predict. This is one that I went back and forth on for a while, and ultimately I did choose Omaha North. I think they've been playing extremely well in recent weeks. I know they had that squeaker against Lincoln Southwest, but I feel like that was uh, I don't know, more of a one off, or a very great effort by Southwest. Um, so yeah, Omaha North, they have that running game with Jaron Cannon, who's been tremendous for them. Mikey Yao has also played spectacular at quarterback for them with his connection with Darian Jones, and then his emergence as a two-way threat for the Vikings. So yeah, it's a tough one. I don't believe it'll be a blowout on either side. This is one that I truly believe will go 50-50. I don't have an alert on it because I have the lower seed winning, so it wouldn't be considered an upset. But this is one that I have on high alert for being just a toss up game. So in the end, I think whoever plays the cleaner game, who's ever able to establish the run game a little bit better, and which defensive line or defensive front is able to stop the opposing run game, or contain the opposing run game, I think that's going to be the team that pulls this one out. So, um, and in those situations, then we'll see, who has the stronger passing game. So, just a team that matches up very well, or two teams that match up very well in a game that I think is going to be one of the better ones here in Class A. So, yeah, those are my picks for Class A. I got West Side beating Papio, Millard South beating Millard North, Kearney beating Bellevue West, and then Omaha North beating Elkhorn South. All right, so then here are my Class B picks. Starting off with Bennington, the reigning three-time back-to-back-to-back champs. I think they pick up a win against McCook. Seems like they've kind of regrouped very well since that Catholic loss, the first loss in however many games, 46, I believe. And they've yeah, recouped, and they've really kind of, I don't want to say it was a good thing for them, but sometimes you do hear about that, like having that pressure taken off of you can kind of let you play a little bit more loose, a little, um, just I don't know, just play a little bit more loose. And I do feel like that's kind of what happened here with Bennington. And then, Will Goots, I think, is having a tremendous season as a sophomore. Houston Hill has been doing a great job commanding that offense, and of course that defense is just lights out. So McCook's a very tough team. They have a lot of playmakers as well. A very under the radar, very kind of overlooked team to a certain extent, but yeah, still very much um, a threat. So it's not a gimme by any means at all. Number two, I have the undefeated 10-0 Seward Blue Jays. I have them beating Gretna East. I do have an alert watch on this game because I do believe Gretna East is playing really good football right now. We've seen them, kind of that run game emerge with Connor Sams, kind of just pounding the rock against defenses, and them making plays out of that. So uh, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Gretna East upset here. But I do predict Seward to take the win. I think they have a little bit more experience. Um, on that team. They have just some good playmakers across the board. Tristan Haas has been playing very well this season, and I do think that will kind of be the deciding factor there a little bit. But regardless, great season for Gretna East. Regardless of the outcome, I think they've grown quite a bit in the last 2 seasons. So, um, yeah, Seward there. Scott Catholic over Waverly. Another game I have an alert on. This is one that it was tough. Scott Catholic, they've looked very strong all season. But so is Waverly, since they've kind of had a little bit of a sluggish start there a little bit, and since then they've been able to show out every week in and week out. Had a little bit of a scare last week, but they were able to kind of show that uh, fight through adversity and all that kind of stuff to kind of pull through and end up winning that game. So over Norris, so definitely not a pushover team whatsoever. They're a team that I feel like is kind of on a mission to avenge that season that they had last year, because they had a great season, undefeated up until the semifinals, and I think that was when they lost their first game at like 11-1, or they were like 11 or 12-0 or something like that. So yeah, tough ending to last season, and I do feel like that could carry a little bit of motivation factor for this playoff game. So I don't want to rule them out entirely. But yeah, Scott Catholic, they've been playing very well. It looks like they've been one of the top two, three teams in Class B all season long. So um, yeah, I got them taking that win over there, and then that Dylan Van Dyke to Joseph Collega connection has just been unstoppable so far. So yeah, that'll be a huge um, thing to watch out for. Just see how often and how quick they try to get that connection going to make sure get those big plays and um, yeah, jump out in front. So um, last one here in Class B, I have number 4 Scotts Bluff versus number 5 Elkhorn North. This is my upset. Again, kind of like the Class A where it's 4 and 5. Uh, these are two teams that I think are very well matched up very well. Um, 9-1 versus 8-2. Elkhorn North's kind of had a couple of tough ones there with Scott Cat or yeah Bennington is who they were able to beat, but they were able to they are the one loss on, or the sole blemish on Scott Catholic's schedule. So a very good team. Team that I think is better than their record kind of says. Scotts Bluff, though, they're a very physical, very gritty team that, and they can just run the ball. Nate Kelly is a great running threat for them at quarterback. Des Smith has been tremendous for them. He's kind of eased that transition from having Sebastian Boyle last year or all those years prior, and he's been a great transition back for them this season. I think he has like 1,300 rushing yards or something like that. So um, yeah, they've been very good. And of course, you have that drive. I do know that they made that trip out today, but still, you never know when that could play a factor in how a team plays. Um, but yeah, I do have Elkhorn North winning the game here. One of the just toss up, very tough to really see what will be the deciding factor. If anything, I think just the fact that Elkhorn North's offense is a little bit more balanced. They run the ball well, and they do a very good job throwing the ball as well with Ethan Beachy. Uh, Whereas Scotts Bluff is very run dominant. I don't know if I've seen enough as a passing team to be like, all right, well, if Elkhorn North is able to shut down the run game, Scotts Bluff run game, they'd be able to do just as well uh, in the passing game. So I think in that case, I do give the edge to Elkhorn North just for being a little bit more well balanced, just as far as uh, in, as we've seen at least. Um, I don't think Scottsbluff has really been challenged to the point where they have to, go out and throw it a whole ton to go and win the game. So they've been doing a good job of establishing that run quick and early, uh, or quick and consistently. So yeah, we'll just see which team's defense is able to kind of navigate that a little bit better. So my picks for Class B, I got Bennington over McCook, number 2 Seward over Gretna East. We'll keep an eye on that one. It's got Catholic over Waverly, another one that I could see going either way. And then I have Elkhorn North beating Scotts Bluff. out in Scottsbluff. So those are my picks for Class B. All right, Class C1. Some very interesting matchups here. We'll start off with we'll start out west with Sydney versus Shattern. Sydney's 10-0. Have they've been just playing very very good team ball right now. Complementary football with good offense that can run and pass very well. With the defense that they get to the ball, make plays on defense and stuff like that. Shout out to Kean Kaiser who just received his first uh, Division One offer, FBS offer from Iowa State last weekend. So he's going to be a player to watch out for in that game. Great playmaker on defense from that linebacker spot, and then I haven't seen if they utilize him a ton on offense, but I know he does have the athleticism and just football IQ to be a difference maker on offense as well. Um, Shattern, Quinn Bailey. It seems like they got their groove back last week after that 2 game slide there to end the season. Quinn Bailey just went crazy. I believe he had like 430 some yards or something crazy like that. And yeah, once he gets going, it's tough to stop him. And I think that will be a key factor in how well Sydney will be able to shut down now Quinn Bailey and be able to slow them down. Because I would say slow down just because I don't know if there's an entire if you can entirely shut him down. Kid's just he's gonna make plays. He's gonna find ways to make plays. So, like I said, kind of how can they slow him down? Keep him from making so many plays, and keeping that defense fresh. So, uh, in that case, I do think Sydney will get that win. I don't think it's gonna be an easy one whatsoever. Uh, but yeah, I got Sydney taking the win over Shattern. So, um, next up, I got Ashland Greenwood 9-1 versus 9-1 Auburn. This is a very interesting matchup because Auburn, I feel like any other year would probably be like a top 5 seed. Very competitive in C1 this year. So even with the 9-1 record, you got them at number 7 seed. So very tough matchup for Ashland Greenwood here. It look Yeah, tough matchup for Ashland Greenwood here. I do have them beating Auburn. It looks like they beat them in week 4 this year. Score of 41-13. And I do feel like Ashland Greenwood has just kind of gotten better since then. Even so, uh, yeah, I got Ashland Greenwood. Just the way they're able to reload every year is outstanding. How good they're able to kind of keep or have tons of new players emerge every season and make plays for them. So, but yeah, shout out to Auburn. Also have a really good team out there. Brent Galiza, Nixon Ligori. Sorry if I'm butchering your guys' names, but yeah, very talented players. Maverick Binder, all those guys. It's not gonna make it easy on Blue Jays. Yeah, they're not gonna go out without a fight, but I do have Ashland Greenwood winning that one. Next one here is my first big shocker of this episode probably. Uh, I have or there's number 3 Wahoo taking on number 6 Boys Town, 10-0 versus 9-1. Um, yeah, like I said, first big shocker of the episode just because I have Boys Town winning this one. Um, it's just they just have been having a great season as Wahoo, and they have a ton of great talent. Jace Comiskey, Kip Brigham has been running through teams left and right, just racking up touchdowns and yardage totals and stuff like that. So, and then of course they have a ton of playmakers on defense. Uh, but yeah, I'm for some reason I feel like this is this Boys Town team is there's something different about this team. I watched them in person. This is actually the game I'm going to go to this week, so um, I'll get a close look there. But I watched Boys Town earlier this season. Just the way they play ball, they communicate very well. They on defense they swarm to the ball extremely well. On offense, they're physical. They like to run the ball. They like to get in. Just play physical ball all around. And uh, it looks like they're having a ton of fun while they do it. And Darian Whitaker has emerged as one of the top talents in the state, and it's clear with his commitment to Kansas State why they were so high on him. And yeah, just a very talented player, along with a lot of other talented players on that team that I think we're going to start paying attention to a lot more after this season. Um, very tough to pick against Wahoo, just because of all the talent and how well they've played all year. This is one that, yeah, I don't know. It could be 50-50. It's 50-50 for me. Uh, but yeah, I'll just pick Wahoo. Just an upset, big upset there, and I think they make a run at state this year. So, um, yeah, uh, Boys Town over Wahoo there. And then I got the last C1 game here is number 4 Columbus Lakeview versus Central City. Is 9-1. Um, it's kind of contrasting styles here a little bit. Columbus Lakeview a lot more ground and pound, physical, running the ball type of football. Central City, they just have a lot of very explosive offense that they can pass very well. They have a good run game. So kind of like to spread the love there a little bit on offense, and yeah, very very exciting team to watch. And one that a game that I put an alert on as one of those games that could go either way. I do believe in the end, just Columbus Lakeview's kind of, how should I say, their toughness in the trenches. I think, and their ground and pound type of play style. I think it's going to be they might be able to wear down on that Central City defense, and um, yeah, I think they'll be able to kind of slow them down a little bit. Time of possession, and then just being tough on playing tough defense. Might be able to slow them down, kind of control that time of possession a little bit, and um, yeah, that's kind of my prediction on that one. So, um, yeah, those are my C1 picks. I got Sydney number 1 over Shattern. Ashland Greenwood taking or number 2 Ashland Greenwood beating Auburn. I got Boys Town with the upset in of Class C1 taking down Wahoo, and then I got Columbus Lakeview beating Central City in a game that I would consider an upset alert game to watch. So, all right, Class C2. We'll start off with the reigning back-to-back champions, Norfolk Catholic, still undefeated, riding a 30-game win streak, 30-game plus win streak. They take on Raymond Central, who took down the Class C1 champions from last year, Boone Central. Very tight game. Very exciting game to watch. Actually, I was paying attention to that one towards the end. Raymond Central, just found a way to eke that one out over the Cardinals, and played a very tough game. Very um, just found a way to win. A gritty win there for them, and good season so far. But I do believe the Norfolk Catholic machine will continue to roll this week. They've just been, they just dominating the trenches, and then they have so many players that can go out and make plays for them, like Max Hammond, Gage Yostin, uh, all those dudes that they just wear away at a defense, and by the end of the game or by late fourth quarter, it's tough to match that physicality that they show. So, yeah, I think Norfolk Catholic's ability to dominate in the trenches will earn them the victory here over Raymond Central. All right, second matchup here in Class C2. I have number 2 Bishop Newman 9-1 versus number 7 Cedar Catholic. This is another alert one to keep an eye on for a possible upset. Cedar Catholic, they've had a great season so far. Only losses were to Boone Central at the beginning of the year, and then Norfolk Catholic during their regular season finale. But other than that, they've knocked down some great teams. Battle Creek, they beat Oakland Craig twice, including last week to in the first round of the playoffs. So definitely a great team who has great talent at quarterback, running back, receiver. Uh, Braden Reifenrath has been playing very well for them. They have Brighton Whitemore back there running the ball. Catal has also been playing well for them in the backfield, kind of splitting carries there between them. And then, of course, you have, big target on the outside, Jameson, who can make plays for you as well. So, yeah, very good Cedar Catholic team. But in the end, I do believe Bishop Newman, kind of just the horsepower they have there with Connor Booth, who's been an absolute machine all season, has over, I think he has like close to like 40 rushing touchdowns. Um, just playing out of his mind. The offensive line, is playing is a wall basically for him to run behind, and defensively they can shut down offenses very well, play great defense, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think will be. I think Cedar Catholic will pose a great threat to Bishop Newman, but I do believe that ground game will eventually kind of lead them over the Trojans. So, I got Bishop Newman there in that one, but definitely one that you want to keep a close eye on. So, um, number 3, Battle Creek over number 6, Malcolm. Kind of tough to pick against Malcolm 2 weeks in a row, but I do believe Battle Creek, they kind of have that a little bit of an advantage in the trenches. I believe is kind of where they, their bread and butter there, being able to run behind that very physical, tough offensive line with Dawson Amick and Cooper Heiderman. Um, and Aiden Pochop has been running very well for them. So, um, yeah, I do believe Battle Creek wins that one over Malcolm. Here's a little bit of an upset, or here's another alert one to watch out for. It's number 5 Wood River versus number 13 Kearney Catholic. Kearney Catholic went and took down Valentine in Valentine last week. One of those upset games that we picked for Kearney Catholic to win. Um, just kind of rebounding from that loss, and kind of a little bit of a dip there towards the end of the season after starting off, I believe, like 7-0. Kind of lost 2 there towards the end of the year. But they bounced back very well. But I think Wood River, just the way they've been running the ball, the way they've been playing defense, I think that kind of makes a difference here. Bo Rorick has been very tough running back to stop. And I think he's able to, if the Eagles are able to kind of get him going, get him, get some big plays out of him early. I think this will be a good win for Wood River, and kind of just show everybody that they're for real this season. It's not kind of a facade. This is a tough team, good team, and I think they are ready to show that this week. So. Um, yeah, number 1, Norfolk Catholic over Raymond Central. Number 2, Bishop Newman over Cedar Catholic, but keep an eye on that one. Number 3, Battle Creek over Malcolm. And number 5, Wood River over 13 Catholic in a game that could go 50-50 is what my prediction is. So, um, keep, yeah. All right, next class, or now we're on to the 8-man playoff games, starting with Class D1. I mean, technically, this is their third round of the playoffs, but overall quarterfinals. So some very good teams, some very interesting matchups that I'm very excited to see the outcomes of. We'll start off with Sandy Creek 10-0 versus Shelby Rising City 9-1. Shelby Rising City was a team I picked against last week, and I don't know if I like picking against them 2 weeks in a row, but Sandy Creek has been very tough this season. They've shown that they are. It seems like it's kind of a crash course or collision course between them and Stanton to meet up in the state championships. But I don't want to jump the gun on that too early. But they do look like one of those teams that kind of destined a little bit to end up at Memorial Stadium at the end of the season. Their talent and just their coaching and all that. I think that'll be the deciding factor here against Shelby Rising City. Not saying that they don't have a ton of talent themselves. Just the Verbkas themselves are incredible athletes on both sides of the ball. But I do think just that Sandy Creek machine keeps rolling this week. So yeah, got Stanton over Shelby Rising City. Uh, or Sandy Creek, my bad. Uh, yeah, over Shelby Rising City. And then next matchup is number 2, 10-0, Stanton, who is the reigning D1 champions, versus a very tough, very explosive North Platte St. Patrick's team. Again, like I said, Stanton's kind of been, near the near the top, or they've been number one wire to wire ranked team in Class D1 for us at Prep Red Zone. And they've kind of shown that all season long. They're kind of in that cut above the rest of the class, and I think they kind of show that this week against a very good North Platte St. Patrick's team. All right, and then this next matchup is a rematch of one of the more exciting games of the season. That was Crofton versus Summerland. Summerland actually handed Crofton their first loss of the year back in week two, beat them 32-28. Um, and then Crofton just hasn't they haven't lost since then. They've been playing better ball. Seems like week in week out they seem to improve and flex their muscles. But I do believe, it's tough for a team to beat another team two times times in a season. And I don't think it's going to be, very. I think it'll be another close matchup between these two. But I do believe Summerlin pulls this out again. Just the talent that they have on offense. That's kind of been the tale of the tape this season, just with their ability to pass the ball and move the ball very well downfield and yeah, just have those explosive plays for them. Crofton, obviously a very tough team. You have Wyatt Tramp, Jace Panning, who can make plays for them, and yeah, it's gonna be very tough. I think it's gonna depend on which team is able to. Yeah, I think this team is just gonna or this game is gonna come down to which defense is able to stiffen up a little bit more. I think it's gonna be tough for either team to completely shut the opposing team down, just because they both just have the horses to power away at at will. So I think whichever defense is able to make the most stops or force the most turnovers, I think that's going to be the team that's able to pull this one out. Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of what makes the difference there. Is who's going to be able to make that last stop and which offense is going to be able to make that last play. So, yeah, tough one, very tough one here to pick, but I do have Summerland over Crofton. Um, Another one here, very low seeded matchup here. Number 12 Lord Central Catholic versus number 13 Plainview. Both teams pulled off massive upsets last week, and they showing that they came to play and they're a lot better teams than what their seeding says and what the record says. It's kind of what I said last week about Plainview. They're a team that they played Summerlin, Stanton, and Crofton, which are 2, 3, and 6 seeds in this playoffs, and that those were their only losses. So um, I think this is a team, like I said last week, that is a lot more talented, a lot better than what their record indicates. I don't know, 7-3 is still a really good record, but still, even then, I think they're a team that can match up there with those top 5 seeds up in Class D1. So and Lord Central Catholic as well. Very good team. They have some tough players on that team like Levi Athens, Robert Honeysuckle. Those guys, just a dynamic duo at linebacker, and um, yeah, picked against Lord Central Catholic last week, and that was a tough one to do. But I think I'll go with Plainview again this week, just because, like I said, I think they're just a team that's a very kind of flying under the radar, a little bit overlooked because of their seeding and because 3 losses when every other team has none or one loss on their record. So one of those sleeper teams to kind of watch out in this bracket. So those are my picks for Class D1. Number 1, Sandy Creek over Shelby Rising City. The reigning champs. Number 2, Stanton continue their march for a back-to-back against number number 7 North Platte St. Patrick's. I believe Summerlin, number 6, will upset Crofton and beat them for the second time this season. And I have number 13 Plainview beating number 12 Lord Central Catholic. All right, so we're on to Class D2, where we are starting off with a game that I have on upset alert or watch. And that is Archangels Catholic versus number 8 Howells Dodge. This is a rematch of the week 8 matchup between these two teams. A game that Archangels Catholic was able to win over Howells Dodge 36-6. It's going to be a tough one for Howells Dodge. just because of all the talent on this Archangels Catholic team and just how well they've been playing all season long. They're one of those teams that's been one or two all year. Um, but Hunter Luther is a very tough running back, or linebacker. He can do it all for them. So I think if Archangels Catholic is able to shut him down or kind of slow him down as best as he can, I think that will kind of cripple that Howells Dodge offense enough for them to continue that win streak and move on to the next round. So I got Archangels Catholic in a close or in a possible game to keep an eye on here with Howells Dodge. All right. Game 2 in Class D2 is number 2 BDS, Bruning Davenport Shickley versus number 7 Overton. Um, Big upset here. I'm predicting for Overton. I do believe they could beat BDS this week. Hayden Muirhead has been playing very well for them, and just as a team in general, they've been playing very well. Good complementary football. Um, as has BDS. But there's something about this Overton team this season that I believe they're kind of playing at a different level than previous seasons, and um, yeah, I'm predicting an upset here for the Eagles. Number 3, Sandhills Thedford versus Riverside. Sandhills Thedford is the reigning Class D2 champions. Still 10-0, and playing a very tough Riverside team. His only losses are to Archangels and Central Valleys. So two very high rated teams, highly seeded teams here in the D2 playoffs. So, um, yeah, Riverside is one of those teams that is, they're a bit of a scary team, to play in this playoffs because they have a very high ceiling and they can, they're just one of those teams that, I could see this being. I probably should have put an alert on this one as well. But yeah, just one of those teams that they just have a different level that they could turn up to. So we'll have to see how well they do at containing Kyle Cox from Sand Hills Thedford. He's been, just carrying the workload, been a workhorse for the Knights, since last season, really, really all his career, already passed 5,000 rushing yards in his prep career. And, I believe he'll keep on adding to that. And, I think his tough running and tough, style of play, along with the rest of the Knights, I think that will be enough to carry them over Riverside. All right, last D2 matchup here is Central Valley, number 4 versus number 5. Why not? Uh, Got an alert here on this one. Just want to watch out for possible upsets. Central Valley, a very tough team with a lot of good players that you don't really know where exactly the the explosive play is going to come from because they have Tajan Soto, Zayden Wolf, Grady Kelly is coming as back in the lineup, and I'm sure his presence will be will add just another spark to this team. So yeah, I think having all those options on that team to be able to stand out and make plays for them, I think that'll be the difference here. Why not? Very good team. They went to the state championship last year, and they've lost a lot of players from last year's team, and still were able to claw their way back to an 8-2 or fight their way to an 8-2 season, and really have a good year for them. So um, don't want to fully count them out just because they do have experience of how to win these tough games, win these big games, and they do have experience on how to win in the playoffs and try to make a run at Memorial. So don't want to count them out. I do have an alert here for this one as a game to watch out for. But I do have Central Valley kind of pulling through and winning this matchup over Why Not. All right, now we're on to the final class in the state, and that's the 6-man Class D6. Um, Starting off with number 1, 9-0 SEM, reigning class champions here. I do have them beating Diller Odell. SEM's just been a machine all season. They've been win their games by pretty comfortable margins. Seems like all season long. Uh, this could be a good test for them. Diller Odell, they've been riding a little bit of momentum here. But I do believe the strength for SEM will kind of power them over Diller Odell. Number 2, Haysprings versus number 7, Silver Lake. I do have Haysprings taking down the Mustangs. Haysprings is one of those teams that I would make an early pick to be, representative at UNK or at Cope Field for the state championships. Them and SEM, as I mentioned earlier, with I think Class D1, but this is those two are kind of been the teams that I feel like have would be my picks to make it to the state championship, I guess. Um, so I have Hay Springs taking down Silver Lake. This is the third matchup here between number 3 Stewart versus number 6 Arthur County. Was a tough one to pick. I do think Arthur County has a lot of playmakers that could bust this game open for them and kind of help them propel them past Stewart. Uh, but I think Stewart, they've just been playing a very good. They've been playing very good ball all season long, and I think that should continue going into this week over the Wolves. In the last game here in my playoff pick'em, I have number 5 Red Cloud, 8-1 Red Cloud beating number 4 Garden County. I think the duo of Gage Ely and Hunter Englehart for Red Cloud. I think that's a very tough duo to kind of slow down. If you can you can slow one down, but then the other one can break free for a big play. And I think just some of the other players that they've had on their team as well will be critical players here in this game, and I think that should get them the win over Garden County. So picks for Class D6: number 1 SEM over number 9 Diller Odell, number 2 Hay Springs over number 7 Silver Lake, number 3 Stewart over number 6 Arthur County, and number 4 Garden County have them losing to number 5 Red Cloud. All right, so those were my picks for every class. All the playoff games this Friday. I will be at Wahoo versus Boys Town. I'm very excited to check that game out. I think that will be I think whoever kind of emerges from that game is most likely to make it to the state championship in that class. So, very excited to check them out and kind of just see how the rest of the playoffs break down. Um, yeah, I appreciate you guys checking checking this out and watching us, and hopefully you subscribe and like to the channel. So keep an eye out for more content, and remember to check out Rexius in Ralston. And yeah, good luck to all the players playing this weekend, and thank you to all the players that played the last game and have had great prep careers. Thank you.